Hey friends, welcome to the Empowered Homes Podcast. The purpose of this podcast is to grow strong families by connecting church and home. My name is Bobby, and I'm joined by a special guest. Hello, Jennifer.
Hello.
It's my wife, Jennifer.
I'm back.
We got a great topic we're going to talk about today, and super excited. We're just going to really share the story of what we've been through the last couple months with our son. And technology.
Yeah.
We're doing a series of technology posts and podcasts, and technology, it seems to be one of the biggest things parents always ask us for resources and what do we do? How do we do it? And the biggest thing parents want to know is like, tell me what to do. So today we're just going to tell you what we did. We're not telling you.
This is not what to do.
Yeah, this is
just what we did.
Yeah, this is what we did. Every family's different. Every kid's different, and even Eric. All right, we just got through talking about even his kids and the difference of them, and we're all so. As we talk about cell phones and technology and social media and all that stuff, we're not going to give you answers, but please keep listening. You're probably going to be like, well, why am I listening to this? But keep listening because we'll give you insight into what we're doing and how we're doing it. So, Jen,
yeah,
welcome.
Thank you.
Any updates before we jump into the topic? How's life?
It's great.
Life's great. Things are going well for you. Yeah. Tell them about our kids.
Okay, so Charlie is our oldest. He is 11. Chandler May is our only girl. She's 9, going into 4th grade. And Charlie will be in middle school in 6th grade. And then Chapman is our youngest. He's 6, and he'll be in 1st grade.
Yeah. So we've got 3. We got 3 plus a ton of other kids. I feel like our house is just running with kids. And
it's a revolving door.
Which we love it.
Yeah.
We want kids around. And
I think before school got out, I counted 31 kids in our backyard. Yeah. And it's normal.
Yeah.
It's fun.
It's normal. So we have our own, but we also have kids that we claim, and we love on them too. And we have a lot of fun in our house. For the listener who have no idea who we are, how long have we been married?
Ooh, today's our anniversary. Can I say that?
Yes. It timestamps us a little bit.
Sorry.
But that's okay. We won't say the date of today. But today is
You
our
can go on
anniversary.
Facebook and just figure it out.
Yeah.
So 16 years we've been married. We've been, I guess, together for 18 years.
Yeah.
We met freshman year of college.
Yeah.
We're married 2 years later.
We're creeping up on being together longer than we've been apart, which it's pretty crazy to think. So all that to say, we've got all this figured out.
Absolutely. That's why we have a podcast, right?
No, we hope that those listening will learn from our mistakes or our failures could help you grow. Yeah. So let's jump in. Let's talk technology. So we recently just decided through lots of prayer, lots of talking, lots of back and forth, talking with everybody, all our friends and parents about the cell phone. So our son, who's going into middle school, he's 11. He's a little younger, got his first cell phone on his birthday, and it's kind of a big deal. So talk about a little bit of our process to even get to where we were handing him this device to say, this is yours.
So I guess like 2 years ago, maybe we just had a phone that connected to the internet and kind of handed him that whenever he was doing stuff to log into Wi-Fi. And
because COVID too, all that, we had to have extra devices so he could do classes and grades and all that.
And just communication that way. And then we don't have a house phone. So I guess a year ago, he got Messenger Kids. I guess both of our older two got Messenger Kids to communicate with their friends. And we check all of that. Like they know that we read their messages.
Yeah, because we get them to our phone too.
Right,
we see
right.
all of that.
Yeah. And then I guess just going into middle school. So that was like 4th grade. And then 5th grade, he had Messenger. And then going into 6th grade, middle school, new activities, new freedoms, new school. new responsibilities.
Yeah. So we definitely had a process. We didn't just be like, all right, here's your phone. And so I think that's been helpful because we got to see in both of our kids, they're going to listen to this like when they're old and be like, why are they talking about all of our business? But Charlie handled Messenger really good.
Yeah.
Watching him interact with his friends and all that stuff. Chandler does fine. But can be a little obnoxious with some of the stuff, and then some of the people she's talking to and going through.
And just because they're in your grade at school does not mean that we allow them to communicate with our kids.
Yeah.
Just because I know what your face looks like doesn't mean that I want you talking to my kids.
Yeah,
on a daily basis.
We were very selective on all of that, especially with Chandler. And it just showed us the difference between the two for just how they communicate and their lack or their desire and care for it. Chandler hadn't done anything bad per se.
No.
But it's just different the way that they use that.
Chandler's group chats are humongous with so many people and talking about everything from left to right and up and down and back and forth. And then Charlie, I mean, I think his largest group chat is him and two friends, and they talk about Minecraft and
Legos and all that stuff. And with Chandler, I guess the biggest thing with Messenger we had with that was just making sure she understands like what she says in there is like she's saying it in face to face, and so having to teach and coach her through a lot of stuff because she would just say things or hear things and do things. So the progression to get a phone in his hand was not just overnight.
It was a 2-year process, basically.
Yeah. It was a process to slowly give him more freedom, earning trust, earning responsibility with all of that stuff. Because there's tons of parents who we hang out with and that are around that they're not letting their kids have a phone yet. We decided Charlie was mature enough based off of all the things that he's doing too. And just, I don't know how many times in 5th grade we would say, I wish Charlie had a phone.
Or if I could just shoot him a text, it would be so much easier.
Yeah. And so for us, it kind of became a necessity out of that, but also, we saw this as an opportunity of growth for him, of maturity, to pour into him, to disciple him, to teach him, to grow him up, not as we just got to give him a phone. Like we tried our best to leverage that. The process of getting the phone, we looked at watches. Yeah. I know a lot of people, that's a new thing. They'll get Apple Watches. We've got friends that their kids can text and make phone calls from their watch, and it's super limited. And that works fantastic. That's great. We thought about just doing like a web version where you have to be on Wi-Fi for the phone to do all those things. And pretty much that's what his phone goes through. So for us, the process, okay, we made a decision, okay, we're going to get him a phone. Then we did some research, or I did some research, and I stayed up late just looking at all the parameters of what phone to get. We looked at dumb phones. We looked at what is the, Eric, you said it, or the Gab phone. We looked at the Gab phone, all of great options. I met with another dad, and I asked him, like, did you get your son a phone? And he said, yeah, we got him one of the Gab phones. He never uses it. Yes. Like he just sits at home. And I asked why, and he's like, I don't know if he thinks it's just not cool or he just doesn't care. But he's never ever on it. And so we looked at all those options, and we finally said, okay, we're gonna give him just an old iPhone that we had sitting around, the one we used for Messenger and stuff that the kids had. I think it's an iPhone 8 or 7.
I don't know.
It's
the
old.
Screen's cracked.
Screen's
so it's
cracked.
Very humbling.
Yeah, we're humble. We got him a new case for it. But even in that process of learning, I learned so much about iPhone and parental controls and screen controls and all that stuff. but that process too was another way for us to talk through responsibility and trust, because the reality is we trust Charlie.
Yeah.
He's got an iPad. He's had an iPad for a while. And the sad thing is, if I'm being honest, we didn't have all the regulations on the iPad that I thought we had until I started researching about the phone. And so his phone and his iPad are completely mirrored now. There's no web searches. There's no Safari. Very basic to what he can or can't do. But that was kind of our decision for him to have that. So the day he got his phone, what did we do?
His pretend one.
Yeah.
So Chandler and I went to the dollar store and got him a little kid, like pretend beep, beep, boop, beep, boop phone that lights up. Little plastic one, yeah. And I wrapped it up and we gave him that first. And honestly, I'm so glad that we did, because his attitude was so kind and so gracious. And he unwrapped it and he pretended to use it. And I think he thought that, like, I will never get a phone.
Yeah.
And this is just a joke that my parents are playing on me. And I'm just going to embrace it.
Yeah. I was pretty proud of him, too.
I was so proud.
I thought, this is going to go one of two ways. He's
Yes.
going to be an entitled brat and throw a fit because he didn't get what he wanted. Mm-hmm. But he just kind of laughed it off. And but it just showed
He's like, yes, I got a phone.
And it showed some maturity. And then when he opened up his phone, he was...
Yeah. And then we gave him a real phone.
Yeah. He was pumped after that. Super great.
But I think also, backing up just a little bit, we did give it to him on his birthday, because just the way that the calendar fell, it made sense. But he knows that it was not, like, it's a gift, and it is for him to use. Yeah. It is also for Chandler and Chapman to use, and we can take it away at any time. Yeah. Like, it's not... Yeah, it's not his.
Yeah, and we made him sign a contract. We'll talk about that here in a second. Yeah. But we had rules and all that before we gave it to him. Yeah. But it was a cool moment for us, because a lot of times when I talk to parents, they dread, like, oh man, because once you enter that in, I mean, you're entering in conflict. You're entering. You're allowing conflict to come into your house, because it's a little box that we can fight over with our kid. It's bringing in the big bad internet into our world and all of the things that we hear about. But I'm grateful that we leveraged it for good. Yeah. And we saw it as an opportunity not to be scared, but to lean in and teach our kids and to teach him. He's 11, and that's the age. Like, the people ask, like, how old? He's young for his grade because he's a summer birthday. But his maturity level, like, is just, he's different. Yeah. Now, when our daughter is 11,
that's not going to happen.
She will not be getting a phone.
No.
That's just, it's just different, and that's okay. And I think for us to understand, with parents, like, you have to decide that based off of your kid's maturity level and where they're at. You know, talking with Eric, like, we said, you know, his son's probably not going to get one in middle school. He'll get a watch, and that's great. Like, that's where there's no judgment.
Because at the end of the day, our goal as Coolies and Charlie is to communicate with him. Yeah. For me and you to communicate with him, whether it's a phone or a watch or...
Yeah, that's the key. Now we give him the privilege to communicate with his friends. Right. And we could take that away.
Right.
Real quick. And he knows that. So some of the ground rules. So we didn't have a contract that we signed with him. There's a contract on Empowered Homes, and we'll add that to the description of the podcast if you're interested in a cell phone contract. And there's nothing in the phone contract that is like revolutionary, but you already mentioned one thing, that the phone's not his.
Right.
So it was a gift for his birthday, but we put that in the contract. Like, The second thing is like, this is not your phone. You have like, it belongs to us, and we have the right to take it anytime we feel the need to. And he knows that. We said the phone is like a car. It can be fun and helpful. However, it can also hurt if you crash, and it can scar you. This phone is also not private. We can read your text at any time. Deleting your text is considered breaking this agreement. Now, he did admit that he had deleted texts, which I was very proud of him for that. But tell him why he said
he deleted the text because he mistyped and wanted it to not show up. That autocorrect didn't correct, basically.
Yeah.
And he thought if he deleted the text on his end, then it would also delete on the other person's end. And we had to have a hard conversation saying, just because you can't see it on your screen doesn't mean that the person on the other end can't see it on their screen. Like, they have full access to what you sent them, and they can screenshot. They can send those screenshots to anybody. And it was like,
it was something.
It was just
small.
Misspelling. It wasn't even bad.
It wasn't. He was texting inappropriate things.
No.
It was just, I misspelled that. I'm going to delete it.
Right.
And so, but what I was proud of was like when we went through the contract and he saw that, he immediately confessed. He's like, I've deleted texts and messages because of typos and different stuff. But he took it very seriously, which, again, why we believed that
he was a little terrified that he was going to get in trouble.
Yeah, he thought, if I'm signing this, like, I'm in trouble already.
Yeah.
The other thing is, we're not stalking you. We put this into the contract. We're just doing our job to equip you to be a better driver online. You will have more privacy when you go off to college, but nothing is ever done in private. Number 5, you must always put your phone away the first time we ask. We hadn't really had a major issue. I asked him, we were having a family gathering a few weekends ago, and he was playing on his phone. And I just said, hey, put your phone up. Like, don't be that kid. And he put it in his pocket. And we put that in there because we're not going to let him just constantly be on his phone. And when we ask him, he needs to put it up. Number 6, his phone is not to be taken into your room unless given permission. So we've held the ground. So it's been a couple months since he's had the phone, and it has never been upstairs. No. And he's done great with that. There's like last night after we went to bed, his phone was just sitting on the couch. Like I left it there because it's his responsibility to charge it, to put it on the charger in our room. I just let it die, and he'll learn because next morning he plugged it in. But he's done really well with that. The rule applies to your friends as well. So, this year we've got friends with phones. We've learned this from other friends who have high school kids, just having a place. I don't know where we're going to put the place yet because we hadn't had any friends over with the phone. I guess a little bit, but nothing too crazy. But we'll set up a basket or a charging area where the phones stay. They're not going to go upstairs. And that may be silly, but it's a rule in our house that we'll stick to.
And I think, too, like, we know other people that have that rule of no phones upstairs. And if you have a community that is all on the same page, it's just expected. Yeah. Like, whenever I go to so-and-so's house, my phone's downstairs. And it's not like, because I don't want to go to their house because we can't.
He had a sleepover, and I talked to the dad, and I was like, hey, we have a rule, no phones upstairs. He's probably going to leave the phone with you if that's okay. And Dad was like, oh, that's cool. That's totally fine. And he did. And he did a great job.
Also, we're still at the age where most of the parents of our kids' friends have our numbers. If they can't get a hold of their kid, they just text us. Or call us.
Yeah. We're not deep into it.
No.
This is, again,
it's very, very beginning.
Very beginning. We just wanted to share kind of our process and what we did. Because we may, a year from now, go, let me tell you what happened about this dumb phone. But even if we have to, we're going to we'll handle it and take care of what we need to.
And I'm really glad that Charlie is our first to walk through all of this, just because of who he is.
Yeah.
Like, he's just a good kid.
Yeah, he's a good kid. Number 7, phones will go on charging basket in our room at night. We don't have a basket. We've got this charging station that's by my bed, or on my side of the bed, that has all their iPads and stuff on there. But we put on here too, like if friends are over at night, that's their phones are going to go in there too. We're not going to get into their friends' phones. I don't care about them. I only care about Charlie. But their friends will leave their phones with us. And number 8, this is a good one, because even though I did all the research and figured out how to do all the controls, these kids are tech natives. Like they're born into this, and they can get around everything that we have. And so number 8 is do not try to get around parental control settings. This is considered a break in trust. He had a friend text a link to a web page or something. It was super silly. He didn't have Safari, or he didn't have like a website, but he told me, look, I can access this if I go through this other app that's on here. And I was like, and he just kind of said it nonchalantly, like, oh yeah, I can open it, but I have to do this, and this. I'm like, I didn't know you could do that. That's not what we want. Like we don't want links sent to you. And this one's a harmless thing about Minecraft, but you might get porn or something from a friend, especially middle school. Like I've heard all the stuff and group texts with pictures and all this. And I was proud that he told me, but it was just so nonchalant. He was like, oh yeah, that's how you get around that. So I learned more stuff, but it's not about gotcha. Like I want to create in him a mindset that if things come across that are inappropriate, that he has tactics in his mind to guard his eyes or look away or confess to us or come whatever, as opposed to just as long as I have the router locked down and I have everything locked down, because it's not if but when. Like we're gonna have like we may be on like I said in a year from now talking about all the things that we experienced after giving him a phone, and it's okay. Like but we're gonna handle it with grace. We're gonna teach him. We're gonna love him. We're gonna continue to shepherd and grow. So even in this, like parents are like that was the biggest thing I get, and I think you experienced it too. Parents who are just terrified of this thing. Like they're just want to protect their kids from everything, which is we want to protect our kids.
Yes,
but I think I don't know. It's
I'd rather just do it and suck it up, and all 3 of us walk this road together, than him try to be sneaky.
Yeah,
and I don't know. You've got kids buying burner phones so they can communicate with their friends.
Yeah,
like that's just let's just do it as a family.
Yeah. And that's the key. Even before, we had lots and lots of conversations of what it would look like if and when he does get a phone.
Yeah.
And so far, we're a couple months in, and there's days he didn't even touch it. He didn't care about it.
And, too, I said the other day, hey, can you text so-and-so and ask if it's okay if XYZ? And he was like, I can't. His phone goes off at 6. And I was like, that is so... not fun. I don't know. It's amazing that he knows that other people have boundaries just like we do.
Yeah. It's not a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing.
He's not going, theirs is at 6, but like he's not. I mean, they might be doing it behind our backs, but right now it seems like he understands the boundaries, understands why. We tell him like, hey, I'm going to protect you. If a stranger comes in our house, I'm going to protect you. If things on your phone can cause harm to you, I'm going to protect you. And so this is not a punishment or any of that, unless we need to.
Yeah.
Unless it gets, to where there is deception, there is different stuff like that. But I think we've always just had those open lines of communication with our kids through everything. There's been issues and instances of friend stuff and all of that we've already had to navigate. This just adds one more layer to it. But the contract, it was funny, he said, what if I don't sign it? You don't get a phone.
Yeah.
Okay. And so he signed it, and we made it happen. Again, these contracts are on Empowered Homes. You can see we've got different contracts. We've got cell phone contracts. We've got dating contracts, driving contracts. If you get to there, I'm not ready for driving. We've just got to get through the cell phone stuff. Dating, that'll be another podcast when we get through there, because that's the other thing everybody's asking now with middle school. Like, when are you gonna let your kids date? Like, when they're 30? I don't know. Like, they're not gonna do it. But the key for all of these contracts that was helpful for us is it started and is focused on conversations. We have an article. It's called 4 Principles for Creating These Family Contracts, and understanding why the family contract's important, understanding what it is. I think he fully understood, because we have another contract that we had him sign that he got to experience. We talk about that a little bit too, but utilizing steps in creating the contract, allowing him to participate, and we may have to adjust the contract later, based off of apps or technology. Yeah. It's changing so much. Even looking through, the last couple of years with all the different things that are going on, we may have to adjust, and he knows that. Like, we may have to re-sign something new, and we're ready to do that. But we sat him down. He sat on our bed. He read through every word.
Asked
questions,
which I appreciated.
Asked questions.
Didn't blow through it.
Didn't just be like, all right, sign off. Like, he took it very seriously, and because I think we took it seriously and told him this is what's coming. This is what's going to happen. And failure to breach contract, this is a serious deal. And I think that's learning real life things too. Yeah. Not just cell phone stuff, but so yeah, that's us. That's what else you want to add about technology, cell phones. I think the next step is social media.
We can wait on that.
Well, I mean, legally, he's got to be 13 for Instagram and all that stuff. So we can't do anything for a couple years, but I know he's going to have friends and be pressured this next year. That's just going to happen. So for those of you listening, you may go, well, the Cooleys did it. We're going to do it too. Don't. We decided based off of a lot of prayer, a lot of thought, a lot of conversations, that this was what's right for our family. You may go, yeah, my kid's not ready. Good for you. Yeah. Stand up for don't fall into the pressure. Your kid will come home every day going, Eric, your kid's going to say, so-and-so's got a phone. He's got this.
And that's the thing too. Charlie came home from 5th grade saying, all my friends have phones. All my friends have phones. All my friends have phones. Homeboy got a phone. Guess who he talks to? 4 friends.
Yeah, the same people he always talks to.
Yes.
Nobody.
No, just because everyone has a phone doesn't mean that you're going to communicate with them.
Yeah. And so for the parents, like, if you choose, like, your kid's not ready, good for you. Yeah. Don't fall into, like, you made a decision for your family, what's best for your kids. Stand firm in that. If you choose to give them a phone, we did. Like I said, well, this may backfire on us, and we'll be ready for it. We're not scared of anything that's coming. And I think that's the key with all of this, is just the open lines of communications that we have. And he's going to mess up. Like, he hasn't yet, but something's going to happen, and we'll navigate that and tackle that. And so there's a great podcast that we had. We interviewed the CEO of Crime Stoppers. You can hear all of her takes on media, technology, all of those things. Fascinating. Her episode. We'll tag that onto this episode as well, because I think it'll give parents some insight into helping your kids navigate, especially the social media, the video games, even. Like, we could do a whole thing on video games with Fortnite and Roblox and all that stuff that we've experienced with our kids. That's a whole separate thing. But if you're struggling with whether or not to give your kid a phone, we didn't give you an answer. We just told you what we did in the process that we have. And so if you got questions, or if you want to ask us, like, hey, you didn't mention this, what'd you do with this, or whatever it is, you can always email us at podcast@empoweredhomes.org. We'd love to answer any questions that you might have. You may have a question on anything with technology as we continue this series, and we'd love to answer those questions, or just talk about those questions too. So if you have any questions or anything, you can email us at podcast@empoweredhomes.org. You can also find the contracts. You can find all of the things that we just talked about. You can download it. You can customize it. We customize a few things just based off of
for our family.
For our family, you can download them. They're really sharp looking PDFs. They're really sharp looking Word documents that you can take and make them your own. And it was helpful for us in this process. But it's more than a contract. It's a conversation. It's trust. It's discipling and leading them to know that this device in their hand reflects who they are in Jesus. And so they can leverage that, or they can hurt that. They can do lots of things with that. So anything else, Jennifer?
Call me Jennifer.
Jen. Last words?
No, I'm good.
You're good?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, thanks for being on the podcast today. Those of you listening, please like us, subscribe to us, do all those things on social media. It gets the word out even more. Our YouTube page continues to grow, and we want to get resources in the hands of parents and grandparents so that they can lead at home well. Thanks.
It was fun.